Hey everybody, it's Trendy Entertainment, and welcome back to another episode of Top 5 Trendy Entertainment. Today, we're exploring 5 shocking inmate reactions in Part 2. Starting at number 5, we have Anthony Rodriguez. The details of his case were quite private, so there's not a lot of information available. Anthony, a 19-year-old, was sentenced to 30 years in prison in 2013 for sexually assaulting a deaf woman in Bakersfield. Although he almost got away with it, a trace of his DNA at the crime scene linked him to the assault. Check out his reaction during the sentencing. Rodriguez, who had just turned 18 and was on probation, had been arrested for sexually assaulting a 25-year-old woman at MLK Park. The victim was taken 105 feet, dragged into the men's bathroom at MLK Park, where she was assaulted. A significant moment during the trial was when she signed no to him during the assault. Rodriguez, with tears in his eyes, shouted profanity, thinking the ruling was unfair. His family thought the sentence was too much. Moving on to number 4, we have Ellis Nelson Ortiz from Michigan. He recently broke down in court upon learning he would be sentenced. Ortiz faced a life sentence without parole for the tragic death of his girlfriend's 4-year-old son. Despite prior drug and gun charges, this was his first federal prison stint. Witness his emotional breakdown in court as the charges were outlined. Ortiz, accused of crushing the boy with his bare hands, had a troubling juvenile record extending 13 years back. The system's failure to intervene and protect innocent lives is highlighted in this heartbreaking story. Recently, a man had a tough time in court when he learned he'd be sent to prison for life with no chance of parole. This was because he hurt his girlfriend's 4-year-old son so badly that it caused the child's death. The man crushed the little boy with his bare hands. Before this, he had been found guilty of many drug and gun charges, but this was the first time he ended up in federal prison. Watch a clip of the man's emotional outburst in court as he faced charges for abusing a 4-year-old boy named Giovanni Miatas. Ellis Nelson Ortiz Nieves, the 25-year-old suspect, is currently in the Kent County Jail without bond. The primary charge against him is felony murder, which means life in prison without parole. He broke down when the judge outlined the charges, accusing him of murdering Giovanni Miatas. His history includes both adult and juvenile records, going back 13 years to when he was still a teenager. He faced charges such as car theft, shoplifting, assault with a weapon, and receiving and hiding stolen goods. Giovanni's tragic death at a mobile home near Kentwood prompted numerous visits from Kent County investigators and CPS over the past 4 years. Yesterday, the father of Giovanni's half-siblings shared that he reached out to authorities multiple times, involving the police, CPS, and the school. Despite these efforts, nothing reached a point where the courts decided to step in and remove the children from the situation. Number 3 takes us back to 2013, when a young man received a life sentence without parole for taking the life of his great-grandmother, 78-year-old Barbara Olson. Barbara lost her life after being attacked with a hammer and hatchet. Although the motive behind the actions remains a bit unclear, let's explore the young man's courtroom reaction after the verdict. Instead of beginning his freshman year in high school, 14-year-old Antonio Barbo found himself facing prison. In court, he displayed various emotions, at times wiping tears from his face. When the prosecutor spoke, Barbo shook his head. During his statement, he only read a few words. Barbo pled no contest and was convicted of killing his great-grandmother. Along with a friend, they used a hatchet and hammer in the attack. The motive seemed to involve stealing $150, which they used to buy pizza and pot. The prosecutor emphasized the need for rehabilitation, but Barbo's actions led to a prison sentence to make sure he understands the seriousness of the crime. It's likely that Barbo will serve his sentence at the Department of Corrections Lincoln Hills School for boys north of Wauso. The impact of this crime has significantly divided his family. Number 2 brings us the story of a man from Castle Rock who recently received a 160-year prison sentence. This was after leading police on a 60-mile car chase that resulted in a state trooper getting injured. During the sentencing, audio recordings were played, revealing the man, Ryan Stone, showed no remorse and even bragged about his actions. Stone faced 18 separate charges, including first-degree assault and child abuse. Check out a clip from his sentencing, and the high-speed chase that spanned 5 Metro Denver counties. At times, cars were ditched, drivers thrown out, and even a 4-month-old boy was strapped in the back seat. Stone, hoping to profit from his internet fame, made an apology during his sentencing, but blamed drugs for his actions. Despite his request for leniency, he was sentenced to 160 years in prison. This brought an end to a crime spree that risked lives and left a state trooper severely injured. Jumping to number 1, a young man was convicted of taking the life of a film student, and during his sentencing had a disruptive outburst. The man had to be tackled, pepper sprayed, and restrained after learning he would spend life in prison without parole. In his emotional outburst, he screamed, "I hate you too," displaying a complete lack of impulse control, according to the judge. Watch the intense footage from the courtroom. 21-year-old UWM student Nathan Potter was shot to death in a robbery. The judge addressed the pain caused to the victim's family and ensured that the perpetrator, Sean Dale Jackson, would receive a life sentence without parole. Jackson's angry outburst and disruptive behavior in the courtroom influenced the judge's decision. The footage shows the emotional impact of a senseless crime and the pain experienced by the victim's family. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to click the like button and subscribe for more content.